up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, well, I don't wanna jinx it, baby, and twist myself at the spine. Don't wanna overthink it, baby. It's just twist your body and mine. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, but I don't wanna jinx it, baby. Let's not get ahead of my time. Oh, but I don't wanna miss you, baby. So I stand up and speak my mind. Oh.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Morgan.
Good morning. How's it going?
I am literally in my bed, y'all. Y'all have never seen this podcast from my bed. My mornings have been rough.
Oh
So
man.
you have to bear with me, okay? I'm here. I am here. For those of you who don't know, and I'm not going to go into details because I'll cry for hours. My absolute favorite dog passed away. We had to put him down last week, the day after his birthday. So the funny story is, when the day that we went to pick Rocco up, Morgan, can you hear me okay? Because I don't have my mic or anything in this room.
I can hear you.
Okay. Can y'all give me a thumbs up in the chat? Okay, so Darren, you can hear me. So before we bought this, before we closed on this house, I used to always tell my husband there was two things that I refused to get before we had a house, and that was a Mercedes to park it in a garage or driveway, and or a large dog like a Rottweiler. And my Rottweiler was my dream dog. So before we moved into this house, we closed on like June 10th of 2010, but we got the dog. We picked him up May 20th. We picked Rocco up from. We had to go to Pennsylvania. It's about a 2-hour drive. On May 28th, it was right before Memorial Day weekend. And we were still in transition because we hadn't closed on the house yet. So we were still in our apartment. So he was only, I can't say only 30 pounds. I remember picking him up. And I was like, oh my God, you're a big puppy. He was only like 6 weeks and he was like 30 pounds at 6 weeks. So this story makes me laugh and it keeps me up to tell this particular story when I talk about Rocco. So I went to pick him up. Well, when we get there, his mother is sitting in the front. So he was a Amish bred dog. So my dog was vegan when we got him. He was an Amish bred dog. And his mom was huge and she was standing, she was stout. She was sitting on the front of the, I guess it's like their first house because the Amish family had houses on land, okay? But it was like the first house, and this is one family, but they had multiple houses on this land. So she's sitting at the front, the first house, and when I say her woof was like woof, it was like woof. And then his dad was at the second house, two gorgeous adults. So when they took us to where we had to go pick our Rottweiler. So I just knew that I wanted a male. So the way that they had it, all the female was in one gate and all the males was in the other gate. So I knew I wanted a male. So I walked into the male. I was going to reach down to get one male, and Rocco literally nudged the other male out the way and me. So I went to pick him up and I literally rubbed him all the way home. He sat with me the entire time. And my husband reminded me when we were taking him to, the last day, I sat in the back and I rubbed him. But from all Rocco's life, he always, the way he nudged that dog, he will always nudge me that way when he wanted something from me. And so I used to always rub him this part. So I had him take all the hair off this part of his neck. That's where I always rubbed him. That was our thing. And he would fall over and kick his leg and everything. But it's really weird because this house, like, he was a part of this house. So this is the first time we're living in this house without him. And it's so hard. It's like yesterday, I try to go back to my normal routine. And I've lost a dog before, but y'all know Rocco was my baby. Like, everything about he was the perfect Rottweiler. Rocco never chewed anything. He never like chewed up doors. You know how some dogs just as their puppy stages, he was never like that kind of Rottweiler. He was very smart to the point where I remember when he was young. He was less than probably about 4 months old. And this is when he was still in his kennel. And so when I would go to work, Slim would fuss at me like, babe, you got to remember to close Rocco kennel. I'm like, I do. And so, you did something. So I put a camera on Rocco. And so what he was doing, he was coming out of the kennel when we went to work. But he will slide this tray and then slide his stuff back in and will close the gate back down with his paws like he never left. So all this time I was being accused of forgetting to close this thing. So it's so many funny stories that my husband, like, he really believes, because my husband suffered major losses and he deal with losses in a very unique way. Of course, Rocco's death is very hard for my husband too. They were very close. So it was the first time that I literally, including human deaths, had like my husband was just as weak as I was in the situation. So we had to like try to be strong for each other type of thing. But the stories we have. So what I try to remember is like every time I get sad now, I try to remember a funny story. And if not, my husband is good for one. Like the day that I was on my way to work, I had to rush for a meeting, and Rocco, I was going to walk him. It was a snowy day, and he had to pee really, really bad. So he like took off, and the leash wrapped around because my leg, and he literally dragged me across my front yard. I had snow all on the left side. When he turned around, like, well, where are you at? And then he saw I was laying in the snow. He was a young dog, and he literally was trying to pick me up out the snow. Like, I'm so sorry. He was licking the snow off of me. Like, he was the perfect dog. So I just keep telling myself that he is definitely in heaven, and he is one of God's special chosen ones, because there was not a Rottweiler like my Rottweiler. And we never got him formal training. I could take him, he could go to the vet, we can board him. He liked being boarded with other dogs. He didn't change until after I got attacked by a dog, and then he started to look at other dogs differently. But before then, he would be fine. Like, we would have to keep Nino, who's the Yorkie pool, the kennel would have to keep him locked up for the whole 4 or 5 days we were gone. Rocco will be out. We get videos, Rocco out there with all these other dogs jumping over this, doing this. He was the perfect dog. So I do miss him. I can tell y'all, I have never, and I'm being very transparent, suffered this kind of depression. Like, y'all know I'm not like a person, you've never heard me even probably say that word. I am truly depressed over the loss of my dog. I'm coping, but I've never, and I'm talking about even losing my dad, I something about my dad being able to say the things that he wanted to say to me and stuff like that makes it easier than Rocco. He was trying to communicate many things. Like, I am convinced that he understood what was happening. I'm convinced it was very peaceful. For him, I stayed with him the entire time. I was strong enough to stop screaming and yelling. Because let me tell you something about these people at the vet. Shout out to them, because I screamed to the top of my lungs multiple times. And I know them people were like, I was thinking they would be like, if this woman don't shut up. And I kept apologizing. And the doctors and everybody was like, do not apologize. And what I loved is that when the moment came where I was ready. Um, all the entire team came in there with us. And literally, for anyone who has to go through this, if you've never been through this, if you ever come down to that decision where, like in Rocco's case, by the time he got to the doctors, Rocco must have been suffering from um his disease for a long time, like, but never showed signs of it. Like Rocco was fine. It actually, y'all, if y'all was watching my reptile or makeup live just 2 weeks ago, Rocco, as he would do, he would come bust in the room and he would get on the screen. He was fine. Y'all looking at him then, it was nothing wrong visually to us or to him, I mean, or to anyone else. He looked like the perfect dog still, just an older dog. And I noticed, I remember posting on Facebook not even 2 months ago, like my baby getting old. The day I picked him up, I said to him, I said, look, they said Rottweilers don't live long. You're going to give me at least 10 years. Rocco gave me 10 years in a day. April 16th was his birthday. He died on April 17th. And when I tell you a dog's loyalty, like, there's nothing that's convincing me that the time and that he held on was because he knew he promised me 10 years. And he gave me 10 years in a day. My baby left us a day after his 10th birthday. So again, a perfect dog. But I truly, truly can say thank you. I can truly say that making that decision was easy because he was in full kidney failure at the time we got him there. And we could already see, like, we literally had to put him on, like, we took his bed and made this homemade stretcher to get him to the car. To get him there. And when we got there, they brought out their stretcher, but we still kept him on his bed. My baby stayed on his bed until he went there to get his blood drawn. Um, and this is the cutest thing. They was going to take us to the comfort room, but when he heard me, the doctor came in to tell me what the blood showed, and she said that she was surprised that he was even alive and that he was in his last stages of life. So she said, so I'm gonna go back here and get him ready, take y'all to the comfort room. But when she told me that, I just screamed and he heard me. She said he got this burst of energy. Now, remind you, I told y'all my dog wasn't walking. Okay. My baby walked in that room that I was in, and then he lay down next to me. He just looked at me, and we stayed there. We didn't put him back on the bed. We didn't try to get him his bed. I laid on his bed and laid next to him because he did not want to move anymore. But he made enough strength to tell them people, "Let me get off this stretcher and go check on my mommy." And so he came. He laid the pictures y'all see is literally in transition. So you see him going in the car and at the end where it's like the ball spot, he's gone right there in that picture, but you can't tell because he laid the same exact way when he was still alive. But when you see where the hair is shaved, he was already gone at that particular point. But he looked at me and I, just told him how perfect of a dog he was and everything. And we said, talked about some special moments and days. Then, of course, she gave him the first shot that actually stopped his heart. Yeah. No, the first shot that put him to sleep. He looked at me and he literally looked at me and closed his eyes and he never opened his eyes again. The second one she gave him, I didn't expect it to be so fast. So she said, he's gone. And I'm like, he's gone? Because I picked myself up to just keep saying, because I didn't want his last things to hear was me crying. So I kept saying what I would always say to him. I was like, big baby, big baby. And I kept saying it over and over again. I kept saying big baby over and over again. But it was less than 2 minutes. And she said, he's gone. I'm like, he's gone. And when I tell you, I screamed to the top of my lungs. My husband could not sit in there. He was in the car. So that's when he came back in. He couldn't, go through the whole process of watching him go. It was very hard on my husband. It's very hard on my husband now too. But Um, Losing Rocco is literally like y'all. When I tell y'all I'm depressed, and I never felt this level of depression. I am, so pray for me. But your girl gonna get through it. I'm just being honest right now. I am not myself. I have moments where I feel like myself. Then I have other moments where I feel like my heart is just in the trash. So just bear with me. I know for some of you've messaged me and I haven't replied. It's just like at some moments I just don't want to talk. I don't want to communicate at all. Um, but it's gonna get better. So thank you for y'all who've reached out. I actually got to see Rock this weekend because I still had to go and do what we had to do. But it was so good seeing Rock. It was actually Rock, you made my day. I wasn't expected to see to see you at all. Um, and so when I saw Rock, it was funny because I was like, I was very quiet, and then I saw him and I started screaming. So, it was a nice little moment in his family. His wife and his daughter was with him, and so it was pretty cool. But that show was cool. Yeah, right. Like it was funny. Um, the show was really, really good. I'm glad. I think getting having to go to the show forced me to get out the bed because I could not get out the bed. Like I was that. Like I didn't want to eat. My husband kept trying to breathe. He even looked Dre. He was like, "You want some crabs?" Like he tried to whatever. We gonna do whatever to get you to do. I just didn't want anything. And I had a couple smoothies because you have to eat something, but I didn't want to eat anything. But yesterday I did have a salad. Um, so I'm getting better. It may not look like it, y'all, but compared to what I was, I'm a lot better. Okay. Literally, I'm not hysterical as I was. But it is mornings are very hard because mornings is when you hear it, Rocco. Like Rocco going down the steps, Rocco going out the back door, Rocco out there barking at his little girlfriend out back. And then evenings are hard because that's normally when I would be in my other room and I can hear him in his room, and he'll communicate through the door, or he'll come bumping in the air with me and stuff like that. So our mornings and our evenings, like if I was cooking or something like that, was our really bonding times. And now those times are just totally different. And then just even like I said, we never lived in this house where a dog at some point in the day wasn't on the deck or in the backyard. Peeking out there, like, because it was hard to look at my own damn yard, y'all. So I looked out there because I have to go out there and clean up his toys and stuff. But like his bowl, because he had stopped eating. That was the first sign. My dog ain't stopping eating. I don't care if he was a little nauseous or whatever. He never. So that was the first sign that something was wrong to us. He had stopped eating, but it happened fast. He stopped eating. Between the time he stopped eating to the time we had to put him down, it was 5 days. So he was like a perfect dog. And then, I mean, he was 10 years old, so he was older. He had his little gray hair and stuff, but he was not being himself. Then when he stopped eating, and my husband and my son didn't tell me at first. They told me on day 3 that he didn't eat. they didn't want to tell me. And then on day 3, that's when I noticed like his hips look different and stuff like that. You can see he lost weight. Funny story. If you look at his medical record, and for those of y'all who in my family, as everybody knows, Rocco was always considered, because he was sport when we first got him, overweight. So at 1 year old, he was 125 pounds. So every time you would see his chart, he would be in perfect health and would say overweight, overweight. The ideal weight they wanted him to be was 105 pounds. The day my baby died and they weighed him, he was 105 pounds. I was like, yeah, champ, you finally did it. Because we even took him down to 1 meal a day. And healthy Rocco never made it down to no damn 105. He was always around between 125 and 135. It was a time that he got 140. I would admit that was my fault. And that's when we reduced his food. But his Dr. Kelly used to always say, He's just too overweight. But he lived like the lady said the other day, the doctor said the other day, he's a Rottweiler. You got 10 years out of him. You are blessed. He said many of them die from cancer at 6, 8 years old. You are blessed. You are blessed. So um I don't feel blessed. I feel like I still wanted 3 more years, but Slim said, if even if it was 3 years from now, your reaction still would be the same. So it doesn't matter. But yes, my baby is gone, and that's a hard reality for me. I never, even though, and I've talked about it on this podcast, like when this day come, I knew it was going to be a hard day. Yeah, I knew it would be a hard day. But it's way harder than I could have even anticipated. I thought I prepared myself for it, but I didn't. I guess I never could have prepared myself for it. And then, my mom was like, well, just get another dog. I don't even want another dog. Like after you have a dog like Rocco, another dog is just not gonna I just don't feel like I can love another dog. Everything that was special about Rocco was special about Rocco. So he can't be replaced. And I don't think that because he was so special, having another dog would be the same. We still got Nino. And that's another thing. Nino, Rocco was such a good dog. My Yorkie Poo can jump on him and like shake, like my Yorkie Poo attack my Rottweiler every day. And Nino knows that he's not here too, because he's no one here to attack. So Nino has been acting a little weird. So I don't know. This is hard. And this is another reason why I don't want another dog, because I don't ever want another big dog. If I got another dog, like I told Sim, it'll be a little dog because they live longer. And little dogs normally their passing is like when Howie died. You saw Howie get old. He was almost 15, and Howie just checked out. You know what I'm saying? Like larger dogs normally suffer, or they go through. They're prone to more disease, or and things that can take them out of here. So, but yeah. So thank you guys for letting me get that out. I had to even start my morning because, like I said, I'm still in my bed because my mornings are hard. And one day, I'll be out my bed before 11 o'clock again. Um, but I do get out of bed, just not early because this is my baby's time. So let's get into our topic, which is a really cool topic. So Morgan, you wanna start this one before I get into all of the bullets and stuff?
I'm terrible at this. You want to start it? I don't.
Okay.
I feel like I'm not put together enough to.
Whatever. So, first of all, let me just tell y'all, for the last 6 weeks, probably Morgan has created the topic. So I just get the details around the topic that she wants, but she actually provided some of the details as well. So just start with talking about how you came up with the topic, or what made you want to do the topic.
So I teach, and one of my students' parents said something to me last week that really just got me thinking. She said, how do you live in this house with all of these animals? Aren't you worried about your children's safety, your safety? Meanwhile, she's living in a house with 3 extremely large dogs. And I didn't realize this last night, but it's all the 3 dogs that are known for. They're the ones that cause the most damage. Cause dog death is the pit bull, a Rottweiler, and a German Shepherd.
Yep.
She lives with all 3 of those dogs, with her 3 toddlers, and tried to say something to me about living in a house with snakes. And I was sitting there thinking, like, that's bullshit, because if my snakes bite, and they have, it happens. We've never had to go to an emergency room for a snake bite. We've never had to have stitches. I don't know anybody that's died from a snake bite. There's never been a snake bite death in the state of Mississippi. But you look at all that with dogs, it's astounding. So for this woman to come at me and pass judgment, it just really that's what drove my topic for this week.
So again, this is something that we touched on slightly before, but we just literally like dug in some more statistics. And I will tell you the one thing. So yesterday, and sometimes just y'all, when we preparing, when Morgan sent me the information, I said to Morgan, I said, just Google the information on your end, and I'm gonna, bring the information to my end. The one thing I can say is that the information that you sent is identical to, you'll see some of the slides that I sent, that we did our research separately. So we can agree that for the most part, the world in the government, because some of the stuff that I'm about to show y'all is from the US government, knows that large constrictors or pythons or boa constrictors or owl snakes in general, but larger constrictors, period, are not as dangerous as the common pet, because they are providing this information. And like I said, I told Morgan, do it for your area and then national. I'll do it for mines and national. And the numbers were consistent. So these are numbers that I feel like are valid. One of the slides is going to point out, we're talking about deaths mainly by constrictors, not venomous, because those numbers change, especially if you get into different countries, which I will share that as well. But obviously, in different countries in South Asia, king cobras are just around.
I looked at venomous for because we've never had a snake bite death in Mississippi, venomous or pet. So I looked at, nationwide venomous, and it was it's like 5 or 10 people a year.
Yeah, so it wasn't it wasn't a lot, even from a venomous standpoint, compared to dogs. Like, even except for when you got into like I said, South Asia, some of the countries that had the black mamba, like the African countries and things like that. Which I was even told by Denzel that I was talking to Dre about, we should go to Africa and visit Denzel. And then Denzel said, well, shit, even because I said, I'm not staying where they got the black mambas. He said, well, shit, even in the Ritz-Carlton, you probably see a black mamba. I said, oh, hell.
Okay, that sounds fun.
$1,000 a night to chance a black mamba in the bathroom. I'm not doing that. But yeah, so like those numbers, and we'll share those, but I wanted to start with this one because I thought this was interesting. And again, when we prepare for this, we Google just like anybody else can. So just to see, now we do, like, I'll put in different search, like I might say add a different word or something like that, but it's just a Google. And these are statistics. Now I do sometimes, I'm picky of my sources, so I like to have more validated sources than just the person typing what they think into Google. But
right, I was looking for like credited sources, not just Wikipedia.
Right. So this was the first thing. The question is, are dogs more dangerous than snakes? And we're going to talk about other pets too, because it's something. What was interesting, more was the one that you sent about the birds. I was dying at the bite pressure. And it says, beware the snake, the spider, and the scorpion. But know this: you are much more likely to be killed by a bee or a dog. And that's New York Times. And as a person who has been attacked by a dog can not only do damage, they can do it quickly. It doesn't take a long time for them to maul. Like, it took less than 30 seconds for a dog to literally leave me with a bone, pretty much. This was all gone. There was a hole about that big. Like, I remember my sister-in-law thinking when she saw the picture that I had been shot. Like a shotgun or something went through my arm. That's how quickly and dangerous a dog can be. However, as a former mommy of a Rottweiler, just like without snakes, they can also be heavily domesticated. Like I said, Rocco never required, other than the he was a member of the American Kennel Club, so we would take him to like those more social, like so he make him social around other dogs, but he never had like the sit, the stand, and all that. We taught him all of that. Like he never had no professional training.
You didn't send him to CJ.
Right, exactly. I didn't send him to CJ, but he just inherently had discernment, just like I believe our reptiles do. We talk about that all the time. Like, I truly believe that my big four make sure I'm out the way before they will even touch a rabbit.
Right.
Like they lead the room, lady, because I don't want to make no mistakes. Like I want you safe so I can eat this rabbit. And I feel like dogs can be that way too. But when a dog, like speaking of a Rottweiler, the first time I realized the bite pressure of a Rottweiler, Rocco wasn't even probably just over a year old. We used to give him big tree trunks to play with because you know Rottweilers are work dogs. I believe Rocco never destroyed shit because we gave him so much in the yard to play with, like so many things to do, run tires, so many different things that he can do throughout the day. But one day, just watching him play with a tree branch, and I don't know why, but he decided to bite the tree branch and watch that branch just literally decapitate. And I looked at my husband. I said, "Did you see that?" He said, "Yeah, he's a Rottweiler." I said, "Damn, at least a pit bull shake." He literally decapitated a tree branch with his bite pressure. And so, if God forbid, and that was one of the things y'all heard me share, no matter how sweet Rocco was, you never saw my grandchildren. You see my grandchildren with snakes. There's not one picture with my grandchildren with Rocco. Not one. Find it. Never exists. Never took one. We don't play that. And that was because from them being kids, Rocco was a big dog. And I remember being young, a Rottweiler, we had the coolest Rottweiler was our neighbor. And that Rottweiler literally trampled accidentally one of the kids. Like he didn't kill her, but he hurt her bad. But he was just playing, like just being a big goofy dog. So my grandkids were never allowed to play with Rocco. And because my grandkids have a dog at home that they can do anything to, I never wanted them to come over here and think you can just stick your hand in Rocco's mouth. You probably could. I don't know. But I ain't chancing that with my grandkids. Right. But I can tell you that you see Skylar, my granddaughter, with a 9-foot berm, because I know she raised that berm up herself practically, and I know that berm is not going to harm her, and I know that she knows how to handle it. So in retrospect, Rocco, my big baby, and then Pearl, I trust Pearl with my grandchild more than I did Rocco. It's just the reality of knowing what the result of something happening could be. Like there's no stopping the bite pressure of Rocco going through Skylar's arm. Now, if that berm wrapped her, I got ways to get that berm off her that would never work with a dog mauling her.
Yeah. I got bit by a Rottweiler as a kid. It was our neighbor, and it was never the dog's fault. The dog was doing what it was supposed to do. I was at his house.
Right. He was protected.
Yeah, and I have a scar on my arm, and it wasn't anything bad. I needed stitches, but when my parents took me to the emergency room to get stitches, I was like 8 or 9. They sat me down and they said, "A dog did not bite you. You fell on a stick. Your brother hit you with a stick. Something happened, but this dog did not bite you." And I didn't know why, but I was like, okay, dog didn't bite me. We didn't talk about that dog for like 5 years, but it was because Mississippi has a 1 bite rule. You know, if I had said that dog bit me, then my neighbor's dog would be put down for doing what it was supposed to do. I was at the wrong place.
Maryland is the same way. Maryland is the
but
same.
I will tell you, that Rottweiler bite, I don't even remember what it felt like. I still have a scar, but I was never like crying, like, oh my God, my arm hurts, whatever. I've been bit by a Chihuahua. It feels like you're being stabbed. A Chihuahua bite hurts worse than. Now a Rottweiler can do a lot more damage.
I was going to say you got a bluff bite.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I have 3 little scars on my arm. It's not bad.
That was a bluff bite.
If that dog wanted to kill me, he absolutely could have.
Right.
And that's why my parents are big animal lovers. They were like, the dog did not bite you. We're not going to tell anybody about this.
So I think they should change that law though, because I would tell people all the time, the rare times that I saw Rocco go from being big baby to big beast is when something was too close that shouldn't be, or somebody is too close that shouldn't be. Like I didn't even notice when the people come and read the meter on the side of the house, they come close to the side gate because there's like this little box there that where the meter is, whatever. I don't know. I don't read meters. But one day I'm on the deck and I used to eat crabs on the deck with Rocco a lot. And I saw him stand in a way that I never saw him stand. It was like he became taller, like he became this huge dog.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what? And he didn't bark. He rumbled. It was just like and you felt it. And I'm like, what is it? And then he just took off and went over to that gate. And the man, you can hear him scream and run. It was somebody right there. I didn't know. But Rocco don't normally just bark like for no reason, or literally, I can honestly say he didn't bark. He rumbled and went after whatever he thought was there. But it was just that the man was too close. The meter is right on the other side of the gate. When the waterman is reading the meter that's on the further end of the house, Rocco is not that sensitive to it, or wasn't that sensitive to it. I'm still saying not, like he's still here. Wasn't that sensitive to it. But I do think that when it comes to reptiles, people never put that in perspective. So that's what I was saying to you. Like, let's talk numbers. Let's talk real statistics, right? So again, this is the U.S. government website. Are large constrictive snakes such as Burmese pythons able to kill people? What is the risk? Would this be in the wild or in the backyards? And so that was a good question. The person, like, before they answered, it's like, well, where are these animals? Because there's a difference between a Burm and a wild. But in this, statistically, the Burms in the wild are less likely to kill a person than a Burm in captivity. So the numbers that you're seeing are, when we get to that chart, is literally people doing stupid stuff in captivity that's causing these animals to do anything that cause harm to them. And we've seen some of that recently. The man who wrapped that video of the guy who, I don't know what country it is, but he wraps a reticulated python around his neck, spins around. Well, first of all, you spent around, that snake immediately is going to try to hold on to something. And it was his neck, and it literally took him out quickly. And he was trying to do that in front of a crowd full of people. Watching that video just shows you how accidentally, like, it was an accident. The snake was just trying to hold on from the spin. And then you just have been asphyxiated because you have a 16-foot snake wrapped around your little 15-inch neck. But the answer to that was human fatalities from non-venomous snakes are very rare, probably averaging 1 or 2 per year worldwide. All known constricted snake fatalities in the United States are from captive snakes. These are split between deaths of snake owners who were purposefully interacting with their pet, and deaths of small children or infants in homes where a snake was kept captive as a pet. There have been no human deaths from wild living Burmese pythons in states such as Florida. Overall, the risk attack is very low. We cannot categorically rule out the possibility of a fatal attack. In suburban areas and parks in Florida that contain ponds, canals, or other bodies of water, large snakes could feel at home. The situation is likely similar to that experience with alligators. Attacks are improbable, but possible in any locality where the animals are present and people are also present. The simplest and most surefire way to reduce the risk of human fatalities is to avoid interacting with a large constrictor. Stupidly, is what I want to say. Because clearly, if there's no fatalities in a while, it's not the nature of the animal to find people and constrict them. The problem is that in captivity, we do stuff that
Stupid
stuff, which is 3 of us try very hard to educate people to never do.
Right.
I mean, even Dre as a man, you don't see him wrapped around his largest constrictor. He's holding that snake like this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
where some men feel like, let me show y'all how to wrap this snake around you or whatever. And they sometimes unfortunate people who end up, and not just men, some women, too. But I bet you if I Google that statistically, no woman did that. It was a man who did it. Just
I
saying.
did see the last like 23 years, I think 10 people have died.
Yes. I think, hold on, it's on
So
one.
that is so low. But I guarantee
that's for a whole, again, that's all in captivity too. So that's the very few, it's not the nature of the animal, it's the stupidity of the human. Like we do with a lot of other animals. Like most time when dogs bite, like you said, it's not because it's not because they did something wrong, it's because we did something wrong. It's natural for him to protect his home.
Someone came in one of my lives last week and saying, are you afraid that this might turn on you like a dog? And I said, well, one, you're wrong. No, it's not going to turn on me. Just like your dog's not going to turn on you. That doesn't happen unless the dog has like rabies. That if a dog attacks you, there's a reason behind it. It's not, they're just not just looking at you being like, let me eat this thing.
Right. Or like you said, or something's wrong. Like it's something wrong with the animal, because that's not even the nature of the dog. I mean, again, I don't keep bringing up Rocco. I had a dog who clearly must have been sick, right? But his loyalty was to still be the healthy dog, or appear to be the healthy dog that he was. So a dog that's so loyal to die to keep his human, content. It's not a dog who's just going to turn on that said human, unless that human treated him wrong. Because the one thing about dogs and snakes, like retics very particularly, it could have been 6 years ago that you dropped that thing on that retic head, and that retic survived it. And it is now that the retic want to take the opportunity to retaliate.
I don't think people also don't understand if a dog is turning on you, the dog never trusted you to begin with.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Right. Like, come on. Perfect way to put it. So it can happen, but they ain't fuck with you in the first place. This was from Pet Knowledge Zone. It says fatal attacks by domestic cats on their owners are rare, and according to available statistics, they are exceedingly rare. While cats are capable of inflicting scratches and bites, serious injuries or fatalities from domestic cats are uncommon. In the United States, for example, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports that between 2001 and 2010, there were only 11 deaths attributed to cats, which is one greater than what they said was for large constrictors in captivity. So cats are more dangerous than large constrictors. Dogs are more dangerous than large constrictors. And this is statistics, y'all. This is coming from information provided by the government, not information provided by us. Okay, we're not telling you based on what we feel. This is facts. However, it's important to note that not all these fatalities were caused by cats attacking their owners. Some were a result of cat scratch disease, a bacterial infection that can be transmitted through scratches or bites. It's also, and we talked about that before when Dre talked about the Gila monster. Like, what really killed the man? Like, was it the Gila monster, or did he have some side effects or other health issues that just didn't compare to the Gila monster's venom? It's also worth noting that while cat attacks on their owners are rare, they can happen. To prevent such incidents, it's important to socialize cats. Same shit we say about snakes. Like, so what's the difference, right? How can you keep a snake as a pet? Well, how can you keep a cat as a pet? Because they're wild animals as well who needs to be socialized. Provide them with enough physical and mental stimulation. The same thing we say about snakes, large constrictors. Let them get the hell out them cages and flex a little bit, even if it's just for 30 minutes. Go ahead, Dre.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's that Gila monster bite. I was right. Sorry. He had an underlying heart condition.
So yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like when we talk about, a lot of things, it's like, what is it that in comparison to, like, even down to venomous snakes? How is it that one person live and other ones don't? It comes down to stuff like that. Your overall health. It says, and to treat them with care and respect. The same thing we say about snakes. Like this, this cat one got me because I swear, if you take that last paragraph, this is what we tell everybody about snakes. To understand and respect the cats. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me get that off of there because I can't see it. Let me go on here. Okay. It's okay to prevent such incidents. It's important to socialize cats properly, provide them with enough physical and mental stimulation, and to treat them with care and respect. It's also essential to understand and respect the cat's body language and behavior, and to seek professional help if the cat shows signs of aggression or other behavioral issues. Same thing we say about snakes. So, in essence, like just going into that whole thought process when we are asked that question, or like sometimes when a lot of people would say, well, aren't you afraid if that snake bites you? And I'm like, no, I'm not afraid of a snake bite at all, but I'm afraid of a dog bite because I felt that before and I've almost lost the arm. I've been paralyzed for 6 months because of a dog bite. I've been bit once in 35 years by a snake, and that snake bite was a prick compared to a dog bite. Okay. So, in essence, like when people ask us those questions, just know that the common pets, the dog, the cat, and then where is the one I want to show with the birds? Let's see if that's this one. No, but this is interesting too. It's small on there, so let me pull it up over here.
I know I can't read that.
I was going to say I'll read it up for you. Well, it had to be one I got from you, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's right
I
here.
found a paragraph that said like all the same stuff, but
No, but it's right here. It says statistics. 4.5 million people report being bitten by dogs each year in the United States. 800,000 plus people report requiring medical attention for their dog bites each year. Roughly 30 to 50 people are killed by dogs each year. Children are the most common victims of dog bites. Of dog bites, 70.4% of dog bite fatalities were not caused by the family pet. So that's interesting because often we talk about that. Like when people ask me about my snakes, I can 100% tell you which snakes that anybody can come in here and touch. I also talk about that there are certain snakes that prefer Michael first over me, where they'll literally come out to Michael, where they'll hesitate, say, okay, where's Michael? And then come out. Or there's the males like Hefe prefers me. One of the biggest things that I think that people mistake that people make, and this is even taken in animals, and I know Dre and Morgan, y'all do this, larger constrictors. Is thinking, and Morgan, I know, like you treat, and I see it, you treat your large constrictor you took in totally differently than you treat your other snakes. Let me tell you why. You were live the other day, and that snake was under the sofa, and I'm like, just go grab it, just go grab it, just go grab it. You was like, bitch, fuck y'all. I'm gonna go over here and get this hook. If that was Nikita or any of your other ones, you would have reached right under there and grabbed it. But that's smart. That's smart. So, as a person who don't take in nobody else's snakes, right? Like for me, when I see y'all do that, that's exactly what I expect. Like if I actually took in someone's snake, don't think by any chance that when y'all see me kissing T'Challa and Hefe, then I'm going to be kissing a 16-foot snake in the mouth that I got from somebody else. You're never going to see that.
right.
It's never going to happen.
I'll do it to Nikita and Antonio all day long.
But it's obvious the way you treat her is totally different from how you treat all of your other animals.
Right. And I have to. I mean, I don't know. She's 9. She's had 9 years of experiences. And I've seen firsthand that snakes do retain memory. I don't know what memories she's retaining from the last decade.
Yeah, I thought it was so
not
funny. I
choosing
was trying to pop Morgan up, y'all. I was like, go, 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 just go grab her, just go grab her. Morgan was like,
that. We lifted up that couch and I snatched her out. And I was not, because I've seen how defensive she gets on the inside of her enclosure. And if she's coiled up like that underneath the couch, secure, whatever, and then here comes my hand.
right.
Mm-mm.
And so using that as a point, though, if Morgan did that, just reach under there, like I was trying to proudly get her to just go and do, so we can see what happened. No, she put under there. I knew you weren't no fool. And she just put her hand under there, and that snake had did something tragic to Morgan's arm, right, or badly injured Morgan's arm. That statistic should be marked under Morgan's dumbass, not
Exactly.
under the snake. And so a lot of these with dogs and snakes and everything, the human, like the whole 70.4% of dog attacks are fatal or are not caused by the family pet. So that means somebody go messing with somebody else's dog.
Yes.
Because you think that everybody is poochie poo and you get messed up. It's the same thing with not knowing a snake, a reptile, the way that you can know your ones that you raised up. I know them. Y'all will see me treat them like big babies all day. But if I had to go over to Dre's house and handle Cardi, it's going to be a whole different vibe with me and Cardi, I'm even going to be asking Dre questions like, Dre, does she normally do this? Should I grab her from this side? Do you, like, for real? Like, it's going to be anybody who think you can go to anybody's enclosure and manage those same animals, could be the same breed, same species, the same way you manage yours. I can't even do that with the same ones in the house. Like,
I talked about that on live.
Take this statistics thing down. I can't see myself.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. If that ain't the vainest damn thing ever. Let me kiss myself.
But now you speaking facts though, because even any dog lover, no matter how confident you are, you can't go to somebody else's house and love on their dog because you don't know that dog, and you a fool if you try to. You don't know that particular dog's trigger, so it can be something that's typically most dogs would like. You can want to go pet them on the head, but that could be something that triggers them to act negatively. So I'm the same way. I don't care how good I am with my snakes. I'm not going to somebody else's house and about to do the same things I do with my snakes. It just don't work like that.
It just doesn't work like that, y'all. I mean, you can put it this way. You can go and try. And it can be just a fine experience. But what we're trying to say is that just like petting somebody else's dog, that experience can go really, really wrong. Darren, this comment is absolutely hysterical to me. Some of people complain about public safety when it comes to reptiles are the same people drinking and driving or speeding through a school zone.
Or texting and driving. Texting and driving for sure.
Hey, Reese. Y'all, we were totally focused this morning that I don't know how many of the comments that may have came up, so I do apologize. I'm just trying to go back and my bro, hey Keys, what's up, brother? Again, they were the first, like I had to let them know that I was going to hopefully bring Rocco home, but possibly we was going to put him down. So thank y'all for being so supportive, because I literally was screaming at them, screaming at them in text.
Oh, I'm really sorry. I had no idea. I didn't.
He was fine. Like it was like day 3, babe, Rocco hasn't eaten for 3 days. All right. Rocco, what's going on? By day 4, Rocco looked like a different dog. The pictures you see are progressive. Like he was fine. And then and so the day that I took him, in my heart, I was going to be able to bring him back. I had no idea that he was at his last stages of life, because he never acted like he was
right. That's how my big dog, when we moved to this house, she never made it to this house. I was on my way to pick her up from the vet. We boarded her that weekend. I went to go pick her up. She was healthy. They called me when I was on my way and said she's dying. Now, they had kept her at the front office all weekend. They'd spent a lot of time with her, didn't see any signs or anything. And then they went to check on her when I said I was coming, and they said she's actively dying. She won't make it till you get here.
Thank
And
you.
that's medical professionals that had been with her for 4 days, and they said, we never saw any signs of anything. She just went down real quick. And that's how it is for big dogs.
It literally just happens. Nicole, I'm pretty sure I talked to you when my dog passed a couple years ago. It happened just like yours did. He was fine, and then I remember 2 days before he passed, he didn't want to eat, and then literally was it that one morning I woke up, took a shower, and I sat on the floor with him on the floor in my room while I was working, and he was laying on my lap, and then he just started seizing, and then once the seizure was over, he was gone, and it was the most depressing shit ever.
Yeah, well,
Trust me, I feel you, because for
y'all know I'm not a person who stole that word. You know, I take it seriously because you know my husband suffers from it for real, and you know, I've experienced depression for the first time. Like I experienced not wanting to get out the bed or not care, like even for a moment, like not care if I woke up, y'all. Like I literally that first day I wanted to be with my dog. Like I wanted to be with him. Like I wanted to be able to just see where he was, what he was doing, that he was okay. Me and that dog was ever like for a woman in a like you know how dogs because Rocco was very much an alpha male. My husband and him had a different like my husband can give Rocco a look and Rocco will do certain things. But for a woman, like that dog respect for me. Like he just listened. I was the authority too, you know. He loved me, like the thought, the smell. I would come back from work vacations, and before my husband could kiss me, Rocco would literally jump up, like literally, like, wait a minute, let me get her first, you know. One of the pictures I posted is me coming back from one of those work vacations, and he greeted me at the door. He was just an incredible dog. So yeah, I think that having like when Howie died, Howie was 15. So something about that, and Howie was a smaller dog, where Rocco and I literally kind of like the large snakes versus the ball python. The ball python dying won't crush me as much as one of my retics dying because me and the retics have a daily, all day, everyday relationship. Rocco was, if I, like I said, if I was in the kitchen, if I was cooking something good, and he would tap on the window, like, what you cooking? And he would turn her head like that and put that tongue out. Like I knew he wanted whatever I was cooking. I used to get in trouble all the time by Slim for, you know, giving him whatever he wanted.
sucker.
You know, I didn't give him whatever he wanted. So let me just explain. Like I didn't give him seasoned food, but if he wanted chicken, I'm gonna give him raw chicken. If we were eating pork chop and he looked like he liked pork chop, I'm gonna go give him the bone, you know, like
Why are y'all like that? Why? My
just
dog was my 18th birthday gift to myself, and my mom used to be terrified. My mom did not grow up with pets, so it was hard to try to convince that woman to allow me to get anything. So snakes, she ain't budging. But I remember when I got my dog and she got used to him, she was sneaking this dude all types of stuff. And I'm just like, I walk in one day and dude tearing up some turkey. I'm like, what are you doing? And he looking at me like, you gonna have to beat my ass today because she said I could. And he going to town. I'm like, oh my God.
yeah, it would be like Rocco got me in trouble all the time because he was just such a big baby. That's why he got the name Big Baby. Like he was a big baby. Like the mailman. It's so many people I gotta tell that my dog died that I can't. I'm trying to be strong for them. Like I have yet to call his make his main doctor and tell her Dr. Kelly that he's gone. Well, she knew that we was taking him to urgent care. But I never called her back to say he's gone. When I tell you they loved him, they loved him. The mailman was like, this is the only damn dog that don't treat me like a mailman, you know, like he knew the difference. Now, if my mailman was on vacation, another mailman came, it was different. But my mailman, Rocco, this was his house. This was his house, like really. And so it's like so many people. My old neighbors, they moved. They used to have a German Shepherd, which he's probably gone now too, because him and Rocco was about the same age. I need to text them and let them know he's gone. It's so many people that I had to call my siblings because, like I said, I went into a state of depression. One thing my mama is good for, as mean as she is that if one of her kids are suffering mentally, she gonna make sure you all right. She gonna call you and motivate you, gonna make sure that you get the right phone calls. My grandkids, oh my god, y'all, Jaden. So my daughter has a dog named Peyton. So when my grandson called me, it was around the morning time. So I'm bawling because I'm on FaceTime. He catch me right mid cry. And he said, "Pooh, your dog died." He was like, "Well, you want my dog?" And my daughter was like, "Yeah, how you gonna get my dog away?" He turned to my daughter. He was like, "You got a cat." My daughter said, "I cannot believe he was quick to give away my dog." I was like, "No." I said, "I just want my dog back." And then he goes to the whole story about heaven. And then Skylar, my granddaughter, y'all, she's very spiritual. She gets to talk about Jesus and what he's up there doing with Jesus. And he has the best dog food up there. He's never going to be sick again. And he's running around with all the other dogs. Nino not biting his neck. Like, just so she just going through all the wonderful things about heaven that she thinks the dog is going through. And so it triggered me to Google what happens to dogs that go to heaven, or what does the Bible say about dogs that die? And there's so many scriptures that talk about their life after death that I've never even paid attention to, y'all, to be honest, as a person who frequently reads damn Bible. So I got some closure, y'all. And from my granddaughter, she guided me to the Bible. And I'm telling you, I have saved on my bookmark, it's at least 17 scriptures that talk very specifically about animals after life, or what happens to them after life. They go through the same death cycle that we go through. There's a resurrection and, like all of that, that you believe or don't believe. I believe in resurrection. I believe in life after death. It talks about paying attention to signs. And Slim, if he was here right now, he'll tell you this. The day after Rocco died, I was so like I couldn't breathe. And he took me out. He said, "Come on, we're going to go fishing so you can get air." So I'm sitting there and we fishing. It's this bird that keeps flying around where we were fishing. And I said, "Why does that bird keep flying there?" And Slim looks at me and I say in my head first, "Rocco, if this is a sign, come closer." And the bird comes right down to me. And I say to Slim, "Babe, I told the bird to come closer. The bird to come closer." The bird comes right down to me and then flies away. And we never see the bird again. I'm paying attention to the signs. My husband saw a blue jay on the balcony where Rocco would normally sit. We're paying attention to the signs. But if you read the Bible, there are so many scriptures on life after death for an animal that I never knew existed. And when you think you read everything in the Bible, right? It's all of this other stuff and it's all stuff that makes sense, like even to the loyalty of your animal, even in death and stuff like that. It's just absolutely amazing. The difference of, you think life is different for humans, but it's not. It's actually the same. There was the statistics slide that we had to go through. Dre, we're gonna have to cover your face again.
Sure, you love doing that.
He's so silly. So these were the statistics of, and these was estimates because they were saying that there are deaths that happen or don't happen that are reported accurately and falsely. So they kind of like break it down between the both. So if you look at the bottom ones, the number of deaths from envenoming per year. So that's the bottom one. That's venomous snakes. So you see total about 20,000 is the low estimate, almost 100,000, and that's venomous. But look where If you look at North America where we are, there's not even that many venomous snakes attacks. So constrictors are just mute to the whole conversation. The worst case scenario is someone getting bit by venomous, and that's what's going to be reported, right? Most likely is somebody get bit by venomous. It's 5 or 7. So the low estimate is 5, the high estimate is 7. Now, keeping in mind, let me move that so Dre can sit back and kiss himself. Large constrictors are only going to probably be reported from a bite perspective if there is a death. Like, we're not calling no one to say I got bit by a retic today unless we have to go to the hospital or something, God forbid, is an infection and you die from it. Like, so we do want to take into account that the number of bites that happen for large constrictors are way more than 5 to 7. But we're talking deaths.
They're not causing enough harm to warrant a hospital.
Yeah, I just know that somebody is probably going to say, well, how many bites? We're not talking about that. We're talking about the dangers of one who's bad is what we're talking about. Which one is worse than the other? Everything that Morgan and I researched statistically was the dog, the cat. Where is the one where the mad cow? Hold on. Because the bird one was interesting to me.
Yeah, because that's one thing. If I had a huge macaw in my house, nobody would say, aren't you worried about your kid's safety? Anything like that. But they're gonna say it about my little king snake.
Okay, hold on. Let's see if I can find it. Because I thought that one here it goes.
I didn't expect to see that. That was
here it goes. It might be, I might already have it loaded in here. Here it goes. So this was very interesting. Parrot bite force pounds per square inch. Humans 150 psi. A pit bull 235 psi, which I don't know about that one. I seem like a pit bull's bite strength is way greater than ours. But you know what? Maybe not, because remember, pit bulls shake. Now that Rottweiler is 300 psi, 328 psi for sure. But a pit bull, now that I think about it, they bite and then shake. Where humans normally bite, Rottweilers pretty much bite down. They very seldom shake. They bite. An African gray, which I want one of them so bad. That's one of my dream birds. 300 to 400 psi. And mind you, forget the bite pressure. Those beaks alone.
Mm-hmm.
So that beak with that pressure is cutting through a major artery, a major bone. Like, that's a lot. A mad cow. So I knew I didn't want one of them when I used to watch Chandler handle his. And his mad cow, quote unquote, supposed to love him. And that thing would have bad days and literally almost beat the shit out of him. So I knew I didn't want
I want one. So I had macaws and African grays growing up. And
I love African grays.
The African gray was so attached to my mom. So if that bird was out, we couldn't go out. We couldn't go near her. He would come and bite. That bite it feels completely different than a dog bite, snake bite. It's sure. It feels like you're being stabbed.
A small bird bite hurts. So I can only imagine. And with that bite pressure, that's crazy. Now, I used to keep cockatoos and parakeets. And let me tell you, I avoided bites from them. That's nothing compared to the mouth of a mad cow. So I can only imagine. Right. Now, this is funny. A cockatoo, 400 psi. Now, I got to speak. My cockatoo was very, very nice. So I never even considered the bites from it. I never had an issue with it. But Jesus, little cockatoo had 400 psi. A Boer bull. Now, if I got another dog, because it can't be a Rottie, it would be a Boer bull. And we already can look at that dog and see the bite pressure would just be tremendous. Mullican cockatoo, 500 psi. I'm surprised at the cockatoo. And most big mad cows, 500, 700 psi. Excuse me. Insane. The bird.
If I had him a car or something like that, nobody would be questioning the fact that my children live in this house with those birds. But I pull out a little bitty pinky sized king snake, and it's like, well, what if it bites?
Exactly.
That's it. Like I don't need to go to the hospital. But if an African gray bit my kid, that's going to warrant.
Well, they could lose a finger at a 400 psi.
Yeah, they can smooth take your finger off like it's nothing.
Bird bite my kid. It's Happy Thanksgiving. That's all I'm saying.
You know what? If you live, because I've seen literally a mad cow on YouTube beat the shit out of their owner, like literally, like seriously, like leave marks and bloody. Like I'm telling you, I'm Dre. I'm with you. If you doing all that to me, you gonna have to get bold arrow or something. Like I'm not going to be for real.
Rice and gravy.
You're not
a $6,000 turkey,
right? 15 bite marks, but I'm telling you, I want one. And every time I go,
I want an African gray.
They have the beautiful African grays, and they smart. I like smart animals. They smart. It was this one apartment community in Virginia. It's a fancy apartment community. They had it trained to be able to tell you to say the special. So if the special was like, just say, for instance, free coupon. The bird will yell all day, free coupon, free coupon. I'm like, oh my God, this shit is amazing. I used to go to this apartment community, which was a competitor, just so I can see this damn bird.
So we had parrots all growing up. We had them from the time I was born to well after I moved out. And when my husband and I first got together, he came and spent the night in my house. He didn't know. I didn't tell him I had a bird. Nothing. Like he was asleep, and my parents were supposed to have been in Memphis. Brothers didn't live there. So it was just us. All of a sudden, he hears the doorbell ringing, the dishwasher going off, people knocking on the doors, people are yelling. There's like very clear arguments going on. So you're talking about 20 years of conversations and arguments and all these different sounds that this bird is making. And he starts losing his mind. He's like, who is in this house? Like, what is happening? It was the bird. The bird was sitting there just repeating all these things that it had ever heard in the last 20 years.
It's just amazing. Hi, Oya. D-Realist, how are you?
Parrots taste like chicken.
For my dog like that. Eventually, my dog started getting fed before us entire meals.
Straight disrespect.
Just saying. The dog can't feed itself. Yeah, I just don't like. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start, because y'all, I had the huge backyard was for Rocco, not for me. But I'm gonna start making it for me. I think it's gonna help. Like I will always sit on the deck, but I'm gonna put a fire pit out back, put some like a concrete pad out there, some chairs on the bottom of on the extra yard part. So I don't have to always sit on the deck. I'm finally going to build the turtles pond. The only reason we never did is we never knew if Rocco would just eat them or, step on them or whatever. So we're going to build a turtles pond out there. So I'm going to try to find things to do. I'm definitely going to put a shrine out there of him, even just for the neighbors. My neighbors love my dog. My dog used to stand out back, and our houses are not close, but you can see the yard. So our house sits higher than everybody else's. And Rocco would stand on that deck. I got so many pictures of him standing. All he would do is watch. If somebody, you can have a cookout, and people came to your house, and you didn't clear through my dog would bark. So the neighbors would have to come and say, Rocco, we having company today. And it was almost like they had a mutual understanding that new people was going to be in their yard. And so, but the owner of that house had to have a communication with my dog first. The dog over across the back, them two literally grew up together, and she's getting old too. We used to call them her little girlfriends. So we haven't told the neighbor across the back. She knew that we thought we might, that he might be sick, but we never told her that he actually passed away. She probably know now because she hasn't seen him in the last few days. But I'm hoping my baby, I can go pick up his ashes. I have his hair from his neck, and I'm gonna have a charm made with a picture with his hair. And then my favorite makeup shimmer is glass slipper. I'm gonna have glass slipper sprinkled on it, and I'm gonna wear that all the time. So I'm gonna get something that's silver and gold, so I don't have to ever take it off. Just I'm gonna get in the I'm definitely getting his name tatted and a picture of his face tattooed. Slim like a picture of me and him together. I don't want a picture of me and him together. I just want his face and his name. And I probably put Rocco and Big Baby because that's what I call them, Big Baby. Yeah, I'm just gonna do things that remind me of him. Like I said, I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna have moments where I'm totally gonna break down. Eventually, I do want to do a makeup lit look where it's half my face and half his face. But I tried it the other night and I literally cried before I even got to his face. So that didn't work. So when the timing is right, I'm gonna try that again. But yeah, I'm better, y'all. The fact that I'm talking because the first couple days, like I didn't want to talk. Even my best friend called me and he was like, "Can I come over?" I just didn't want to see nobody. Like I don't want to, like it was nothing no one can do or say that was gonna make that better. All right. There's nothing. Dre, I appreciate like things you say is more like, just checking on me type of thing, not trying to say, people, like, you'll get over it. I'm never gonna get over it. Like I'm
No,
never
because
gonna
I've
get
been
over
through it, and I'll be lying to say that you do. You don't. You just learn how to deal with it better.
Yeah. Like I think it will always be more like when my dad, there's days that, I just totally miss my dad. But there's certain even now, like I feel sorry for Michael because they spent a lot of time together. And I was asking Michael, Michael, you okay? He was like, I miss him at night, and then he said, "But are you okay, Ma?" I said, "I'm fine." So Michael's so busy worried about me that I want to make sure that he gets his breathing process too. But I'm gonna let Michael get a tattoo of Rocco too. So I'll let him pick a picture. I was thinking that I want probably get like his baby face and like I want three faces. His baby face, his like what you call it, his prime face, and then his face like right before he passed away. I think I'm gonna get those three faces somehow. I just don't know where because I got tattoos everywhere and I need enough space. So Slim was like, well, maybe your leg. But I don't know. I'm gonna see. I'm going to see. But this was another great topic, y'all. First of all, shout out to Antoine from High Desert Pythons who gave us a shout out. He gave 2Ps on the podcast a shout out on his podcast the other day. So shout out to Antoine for that. I didn't even realize that Antoine even get a chance to watch, but apparently he definitely does. But he be working. A lot of people listening. So when y'all not on the screen, I appreciate y'all. Everybody in the chat, Kevin, I see you. See a lot of my TikTok friends coming through in the morning. I appreciate you all. My makeup ladies coming through. Hugh, what's up, brother? Rock was so great meeting you this week. Stan always. And I'm laughing because I watched Stan do podcast after his wife passed away. I think I saw Stan cry once. Y'all probably seen me cry 15 times now about this daggone dog, but Stan, I just like I admire you and your strength. But yeah, your girl is going through right now. But I'm still like I've at least the other day I was motivated to go in my makeup room finally because for the first 3 days I couldn't. I didn't even want to attempt. But I can't listen to a lot of music right now because so many songs, because I normally play music when I'm in that room, remind me of Rocco being alive. And this is weird. Purple Rain came on. I just bust out crying. It's just a lot. It's just a lot. But my baby had a great life. And I always say that. Like he wasn't a yard dog. He was very spoiled, very loved. He got to do some very fun things in his life. He just I wonder though, Rockwood ain't fuck with water. I wonder if he in heaven if he'll swim now. Because he would the first time, y'all know how you always saw Rottweiler swimming and shit. So the first we got him when he was probably a year old, we took him to the water and we wanted him to just jump in the water and see if he would swim. A wave came, a little wave. I ain't talking an ocean wave. My dog hauled ass. He was like, what the fuck is this? Rocco would not go near unless it was that damn little blue pool water that we put the snakes in. That's the only water he would go near. Any other water, I'm like, you're supposed to run and jump off the pier like the other Rottweilers. Rocco, like, I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it. So I did. That's one thing I said. I told Slim, I said, I wonder if he finally gonna get in some water up in heaven. If he gonna just go here and swim through the meadows. Because he was not, you hear me? And I used to take him hiking in the beginning to see if he'll like get in the water. Never. The one thing he did do is pick up a snake, and that's when I stopped hiking with him. When he picked up this big ass black rat snake and brought it to me like it was a prize, I'm like, no, I don't want that. I told Slim he ain't never going to the park with me again. He never going to the park again. We got so many funny memories of this day on dog, and that's someone's gonna try to keep, like, every time I get sad, I try to remember a funny memory of him. And is there so many funny, clumsy memories, sneaky memories, like him finding shit on like potato chips and tearing them open and eating them, and when you catch him, he looking up at you like, "What I do?" He was just a great, 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 great dog. So yeah, guys, that's it for today. Thank you, Hugh. I hope everybody have an amazing day. I hope everybody, if you have a animal, a dog, very particularly, hold them tight. As we should anyway. That's one thing I can say. I have no regrets. My dog was orally loved. Like he was loved to levels that most dogs aren't loved. Like I would literally run out and get him if I noticed that he wanted something. Like if I was cooking when we were eating meat, and if I was cooking a steak, and that's not what I fed him that day, but he gave me that tongue. Like he wanted a steak, I would run out and just go get him a steak. Go get him a steak. Call Slim, babe, can you pick up a steak? Rocco want a steak. Like he was just such a loved animal, but in return, he loved us so much too. He was such a perfect animal. So I don't wish this on anybody, but I will say after going through the experience, like my first dog that died, Howie just died. We knew he was old, we knew he wasn't Howie showed signs that he wasn't well. We have taken him to the vet back and forth, but Howie died just from old age. He was old. But if you ever have to put your dog down, I would say read these 3 things. If you can't do it at your house, make sure that you are able to take him somewhere where it's the most pleasant and comfortable experience for y'all both. Don't regret it, because one thing that makes me happy is that to know that my dog suffered for months for it to be at the point that he was in his last stages of life. So he was very loyal. He wanted to be here with me. And when he sought to let those signs show, he knew that he no longer could be here. So don't regret it. And I would say 3, it was very peaceful. It was nothing about that experience that I felt was inhumane or anything that I felt that made the dog feel like it wasn't a gradual, process or make the dog stressed out. My dog was very relaxed. It was some part where when he looked at me right before she gave him the first needle, I think he was even content. Like he gave me a look. It wasn't a look of sorrow. It was more of like we're ready, we're ready look. Like you're ready, I'm ready, type of thing. And even that moment, I told Slim, I think that's the part that probably would help him too, is that had he been able to stay there at that moment, he would have probably found peace, in Rocco's passing quicker. He's doing well. He's doing much better than me today. But when he came back in, Rocco was already gone. Intentionally, he didn't want to see him he thought he was going to take a struggle, like a last breath, and Slim didn't want to see that. I didn't know what to expect, but it wasn't that. It wasn't a struggle at all. He literally got the first shot, he looked at me, closed his eyes. And by the second one, it was so quick when she said, let me check his heart, he's gone. It wasn't a bad experience. So if you ever get into this situation and you go through that feeling of, should I, let him stay alive until he died, or don't let him suffer? That was one thing that I can say. I'm proud of myself. I always said that if it ever came to that, I would never let my dog suffer. The moment she said his organs failed, though, I knew that he wouldn't have lived another night or so anyway. Like, he was holding on to that 10-year for me. Like, so just do what you have to do for your animal first. It was hard. It's going to be hard. You're going to miss them, but just to think for me, I wish I had known Rocco had showed me signs months earlier, so he wouldn't have had to suffer at all for me. Because they suffered for us. Like, even to his last moment, to see him just wanting to make sure I was okay, you know, makes me happy. So it's a lot of things that makes me smile. Everything is the only thing that makes me cry is that I miss him, and I miss doing the things we did together. A big part of my morning of getting up. That's why I think it's so hard for me to get out of bed, is because I know that it doesn't start with him anymore. And I just have to find a way to want to get up 6 o'clock in the morning and start my day without him, or hearing him, or him hearing me, just all of that. So I hope everybody have a great one. I'm gonna drop off of here. It's a nice day outside. I probably, instead of going to the gym, take a long walk today. But yeah, I hope you have an amazing week. We all know God is still good. But yeah, keep your girl in prayer, because I'm definitely fighting a state of depression right now, and I don't know
I'm
how
gonna be
long it's
bugging
gonna
you throughout
go.
the week just to check on you.
I appreciate it. Yeah. I come in and out my funk, but I have a lot of funky moments. So, and I'm not a person who is gonna post videos of me crying. So just know that when I can get on camera and smile and stuff like that, that's when I can and I will. But in between that, I'm still suffering. So I don't want y'all to think stop praying, because I need it. Like, I can't stress that enough. Like, my heart is so broken. My soul is shaking, and my spirit is just not right now. And so I know it takes prayer to get that right. So I appreciate it, y'all. Everybody having an amazing, amazing day.
Okay.
You
Love
too.
y'all.
See you later, Nicole.
Love
Bye,
you too.
Banna. Thank you, Banna.